Some man they wanna chat shit till I knock 'em ain't like I'm Jack
Level
Shaw.
to the game.
Rolls hat, roll stack, my flow sharp like a hacksaw.
Yo, right, what's happening, guys? Been a little while. Trying something a little bit new here. Some of you may know or may not know that. Hang on, let me check this mic is working. Yo, yo, yes. Some of you may or may not know. Joe is currently expecting a baby. Well, his missus is expecting a baby. She's due to drop any minute now. So I've jumped on. We're gonna, with the baby on the way, we discussed we're looking at doing like a little Zoom setup. This isn't my final setup. This is just me in the front room, but we got the mic, we got the headphones. So we will get jumping on with some guests, maybe over Zoom. Just he's going to be busy the next couple of weeks with the baby. But yeah, she's due to drop any day now. And so we couldn't get into the studio. I've just got back from holidays. I wanted to jump on and run through the shitstorm, for lack of a better word, that is UFC 303. So there was rumors spiraling, I think it was last week or the week before, that the fight was potentially off when they cancelled the press conference. It was then looking positive again. And then a couple of days ago, what was Friday today, I don't know when this will go out, because I'm going to have to try and edit it myself as well, which is going to be a nightmare. But a couple of days ago, word got out that the McGregor fight with Chandler was off due to a leg/knee injury, I'm hearing. And woke up this morning to see Dana White has done an announcement and reshuffled the card. Major changes. Major changes. We've got well, let's pull a card up here. I turn the light on. Let's turn this light on quickly. I seen rumors that they were trying to I think they asked Max Holloway to potentially fight. It was too short notice, I think they said. And then I also seen, what did I see? Was it Max Holloway? It was Max Holloway was one of the options. I'm sure they said something about Charles versus Chandler too, but I think Chandler obviously wants to wait for the McGregor fight. So the card's been completely shook up. I've got it on the iPad, but yeah, I just want to double check that that is the right card because it's changing all over the shop at the minute. So yeah, so the main event's off, totally off, been pushed back, been postponed, cancelled, whatever you want to call it. And I think we're all starting to get a bit iffy now. Are we actually going to see this fight ever happen? For me, a big factor for this fight was McGregor's inactivity. Obviously, hasn't fought since July 2021. And Chandler, when this fight first got announced, you got to remember this was the beginning of last year, which would have been the beginning of 2023 because they did the tough season, which I believe was filmed even earlier again. So this fight has been in the works now for knocking on 18 months. It was USADA things with the Roadhouse, so he wasn't in the testing, blah, blah, blah. We all know the story. So yeah, what is happening now, potentially, if we don't see this fight, well, we're not going to see this fight, in my opinion, till at the very earliest, the end of the year, if not next year, depending on how serious McGregor's injury is. Chandler's going to be out for the best part of 2 years, which kind of evens up the inactivity factor for me. And I feel like Chandler's waited that long for this payday now that he's kind of got to see it through. I just don't know whether the UFC are going to fuck him potentially and make him fight a Charles, fight a Gaethje again. We don't know. We all know he wants to have McGregor fight. I feel like McGregor wants to fight with Chandler as well. I think he probably thinks it's a good stylistic fight for him. But who knows? At this stage, who knows if we even see McGregor again? That's how I hope we do. I think whenever McGregor's in the sport, it's better for MMA in general. More people watching, views on everything always go up. But we gotta start to think now: is this actually going to happen? Are we going to see it? We don't even know the ins and outs of the injury. We don't know how serious it is. It could be a tear. We know he's had injured knees in the past. Who knows? But yeah, shitstorm. I bet Dana White has had a few sleepless nights. So I'm just looking at the card by you. So the co-main event initially was meant to be where's it to? Carlos Wolfsburg versus Jamal Hill. Jamal Hill is now out as well with a knee injury. Out again. that confused with the McGregor. I hope McGregor vaccinated his leg. I'm going to sound like a tit. But yeah, Jamal is out. So replacement fight day, Anthony Smith has jumped in. You know, oh God, wait there. Might have to pause this, guys. Baby's waking. It's all right, we'll cut it. I'll be back. And we're back. As if my lack of editing skills wasn't bad enough, I'm not going to have to cut out the baby waking. The missus is out with some friends tonight, catching up after we've been on holiday. So I'm also on dad duty as well. So I'm dipping in and out, trying to get him off to sleep. So yeah, as I was saying, Anthony Smith is now in, replacing Jamal Hill to fight Carlos Ulberg. I hope I'm saying that right. Obviously trains with Stylebender, 11-1. Dangerous guy. Anthony Smith coming off a big win in Brazil against a massive prospect in Victor Pachenko. Was that his name, Victor Pachenko? Let me double check. Yeah, Petrino, sorry. Victor Petrino. Apologies. So that is the new feature bout. They've now pulled out Oliver Coleman, wasn't booked. Neither of these guys were scheduled to fight. But yeah, they've now pulled out of their last somehow a massive featherweight clash in Brian Ortega and Diego Lopez. Massive fight. I think Lopez is ranked number, I want to say 13 or 11, something like that. I seen on Instagram earlier. Ortega obviously number 3, so a big step up for Lopez, but he has looked like an absolute killer. Last couple of fights, took out Sadiq Youssef quite easily. He's massive. He was out in Brazil, and I was out in Brazil, and as you do fight week, you size up the guys in your weight, and he is massive for the weight. Elite level grappler, big power puncher, and seems to be getting better. But you look at Ortega, then been in there with the best, looked incredible in his last fight against Rodriguez. You know, Lopez is elite on the ground, but so is Ortega. So you could see this end up being a striking match. Ortega can really strike, but Lopez does possess that power that he can put anyone out. I don't know if this is a 5-round co-main. I don't feel like it is because of the short notice. But a bout of a co-main that they've pulled out of Norway. And and then in the main event, I just want to pull another picture up here because I'm gonna recite it. But our man Alex Pereira, for me, one of the combat sports GOATs, steps in on 3 weeks' notice to rematch Yuri Prohaska for the light heavyweight title. Massive credit to both guys. I seen Ariel say that Prohaska was in instantly. There were some hurdles for Pereira. I think he's out in Australia at the minute doing a seminar tour. Obviously, I'm assuming he's going to fly straight home because we're talking, 3 weeks away till the fight? 3 weeks ago. Not even 3 weeks away, 2 weeks away. You know, in terms of fighters fighting and talking about who wants it and making a legendary, putting themselves up in legendary status, Pereira's that guy, isn't he? And Yuri, both guys just fought on UFC 300. Physical fights for the pair, for Yuri. Real back and forth war. Pereira, I heard, was injured toe, broken toe, hence why he's having a little bit of time off. Now they're going to fight in a 5-round main event. So you think Pereira's gone from headlining 300 to 303 within, 3 months of each other? It's insane what he's doing. I mean, he's going to be one of these guys because he come into the sport so late. We're not going to have him around forever, I don't think. But when he goes, we're going to be like, what a legendary run this guy has had. What a legend he was. The guy truly will fight anyone, anyway. I just seen a picture that the TNT posted. Hold it up by you. Alex Pereira made his debut in November 2021. He's only had 8 fights in the UFC. Now listen to some of these stats for a guy who's had 8 fights in the UFC. So he signed in November 2021. By November 22, he'd won the UFC middleweight title. Then another year later, November 23, he'd won the light heavyweight title. So within 2 years of signing with a promotion, he has won middle and light heavyweight titles and attempted to defend the middleweight one in between now as well. So that in itself is an insane strength of schedule. Defended title against Jamal Hill, April 24, starts Jamal Hill, which people could have seen him winning a fight. I don't think they could see him winning the fight so early on. Then this is the stat for me that kind of like doesn't really sink in until you say it out loud. He's had 8 fights in the UFC. In those 8 fights, he's defeated 5 former champions and obviously the loss to Izzy. So he's had 6 fights with former champions. He beat Strickland, he beat Adesanya, he lost to Adesanya, he beat Blachowicz, he beat Yuri, and he beat Hill. So he's now going into his 9th fight in the promotion and he's fighting Yuri again. It's like, it's insane. We've never seen no one do this. I mean, even Izzy had a legendary run, but we didn't see him climb up this fast and kind of do the stuff Pereira's doing. And, for me, he's probably my favorite fighter on the roster currently. Like, I can't get enough of watching him. I think he's brilliant to watch. Fanboyed him in Brazil, even asked him for a picture, and he was exactly the same in person as you would expect him to be. Stone cold, doesn't smile, doesn't say a lot. Just, yep, get your photo and be on your way, son. Yeah, massive, massive respect to him. Excuse me. And Yuri. Yuri got to have a shot as well, because that fight with Rakic was an absolute war. And make no mistake, this fight is not an easy fight for both men, especially on 3 weeks' notice. The only worry for Alex has surely got to be how much training has he done? Because, like I said, I think I fought 3 or 4 weeks after UFC 300, and he was out in Brazil then, so he wasn't training then. He's obviously out in Australia now for the last week, so he hasn't probably done a great or amount of sparring and stuff. So, but you got to feel like Yuri's in a similar position. So, looking forward to it. Is it as good a card as the McGregor card? No, because McGregor's not on it. I feel like the Ortega fight is huge. The Smith and Carlos fight is massive. I mean, you look down the card, you've got Pfeiffer and Marc-Andre Barut, which is a great fight. Just looking at the prelims. Cub Swanson, Andre Feely, Charles Dordain on the card. That Peyton Talbot, who's a big prospect on the card. So there's some good fights. There's some real good fights on the card. It's just, you know, Ian Gary and Michael Venom Page too. That's showing on the Fight Pass prelims on Google, which I very much doubt. That is a massive fight. So it would have been better when McGregor's on it. Of course, it would have. We all want to see McGregor back in action. Chandler always brings a war, doesn't he? But for me to scramble and for Dana and Hunter and all those guys to scramble and make this on 3 weeks' notice in a couple of days, you have to give credit where credit is due. They've really pulled it. They've really pulled it out of the bag. I'm just looking on your, just some of the messages we've had about it. 2 big stars in the main event. Not as big as McGregor, don't get me wrong, but they've pulled out the bag. They had to. This International Fight Week event is always got to be big. So big respect to everybody stepping up. Can't wait to see the card. Another pullout we've had was Whittaker against Khamzat is off. Well, it's not off. Whittaker's still fighting. Khamzat is out. He's been seriously or violently ill, I think I've seen, which is quite worrying because you think how active he was early on in his career. Then he fought, then he had COVID, kind of like announced he was retiring after COVID because he was so ill with it. And then now you look at it, it's almost like he can't put a run together, and it's kind of due to illness, it seems like a lot of the time. Even when he fought Usman, he put a post up saying he was in hospital for weeks afterwards. So, I hope it's nothing too serious. I hope we can see him before the end of the year. But at this rate, I mean, like, look, they're gonna want to keep him for an Abu Dhabi card. I'm guessing the rumor is he can't go into America, he can't get a visa. So if you're not looking at that Perth card, you're probably looking at saving him for the October Abu Dhabi card, and that's another year. That's another year. I think he fought Usman in October last year. He's obviously only 1 fight away from a title shot. We know that, but who do they put him in against now? Do they give him Strickland? I don't know what they do. So it's a tough one for Khamzat, really. Be interesting to see when he's back, who he's back against. I think if Whittaker wins you, he's probably got to give him #1 contender status. And he's taken on an absolute beast in Ikram. Not ranked, relatively unknown to the casual fan, but trains with Khabib and all them, and is a genuine killer. So as always, Robert Whittaker showing balls and heart the size of whatever you want to call it, but we expect nothing less from him. You know, he's what he's done for years and years and years. Still knocking on as one of the best in the division, and in my opinion, will very much likely go on and fight for the title again. But yeah, that fight's off as well. UFC's gone all the part at the minute of injuries and pullouts. So that's it pretty much on the 303 and the Whittaker thing. Shame we don't get to see those fights. I couldn't wait to see Khamzat back. I really was interested to see how he would do against Whittaker, especially after the Usman fight. I think we all had a couple of questions. It's the first fight other than Gilbert Burns where he looked relatively human. And obviously getting about the McGregor thing. I hope we get to see him back soon. But at this rate, who knows? We'll have to just wait and see. I did have a couple of questions come in. Like I said, guys, there may be some cases over the next few months where I got to do a couple of solo episodes because Joey Boy will be changing nappies and doing night feeds. So, um, we'll try and make it work. We'll try and get the questions and stuff in. We got a couple of guests lined up over Zoom as well, so we can get some stuff out. But yeah, apologies for us not being in the studio, but hopefully this will suffice. I know we got a couple of loyal viewers who are on our case for more episodes, so we're doing our best. Just want to scroll through a couple of the right. So Ikram and Whittaker prediction. I do predict Whittaker will win, but Ikram is very, very good. Very good striker, very good wrestler. Comes from a really good team, obviously. The only thing you would, if you had to pick something that separates them, would be the caliber of opposition. That's not a knock on Ikram. That's just a case that he hasn't had chance to fight that caliber guy yet. Whittaker's been at the top for probably 5, 6, 7 years. He's only just come into the UFC. I'm just trying to find out how many. Let's see if I can find him. Trying to see how many fights he's had in the UFC. I don't think it's many. He looked really good in his last fight, I remember. Let's have a look. He's 15-1. Let's have a look at his record. Where are we to? Why can't I find his record? Where's his Tapology? All right, here we go. There's a lot of cancel fight in fairness. So his last fight was in October. That was in Abu Dhabi against Rolly Alvarez. He looked really good with a KO. To be fair, I say he hasn't fought that level of competition, which he hasn't, but he's 2-0 in the UFC. But you look at some of this is how good the guy is, obviously. He was 1-0 in the UFC and they matched him up with Paulo Costa. Obviously, that fight got cancelled. Then they matched him up with Imavov, who we've seen on the weekend, who was elite. Um, they've tried to match him with Anthony Hernandez, Munoz. So, you know, it shows they know the level he's at. I just hoping that Whittaker's experience and skills will be too good, and we see him win and go on and get a title shot. Because who doesn't want to see Rob Whittaker winning? Do I feel as though Chandler is regretting sitting out for so long? Talked about this the other day. I don't think he's probably. If you would ask me this a couple of days ago, I would say no, because the big payday was looming. He waited this long. Why not wait a little bit longer? However, now, for me, I'm starting to think, is this fight actually going to happen? Are they going to make Chandler fight someone else? Is McGregor going to even come back? So imagine being Chandler and you're thinking, I've sat out for 18 months, nearly 2 years. This fight doesn't happen, so I've wasted 2 years of my career. He's not young Chandler. He's mid to late 30s. He's got to be thinking, isn't he? He's got to be thinking, should I have done this? Should I have pushed on and tried to fight for the title? Try to make a title run. I know he's coming off a loss to Poirier. Look, think how many fights Poirier's had since then. So yeah, I mean it's one of those. He's got to be. If he's not regretting it, he's got to be starting to have them demons creeping, in my opinion. Will the UFC compensate Chandler for all these delays? Who knows? Depends how much they want to keep that fight on. If they're not asked and they're looking at chucking McGregor with someone else, they're not bothered about it being Chandler. Probably not. If they're desperate for it to be Chandler because they feel like it's a good fight for McGregor, it's a good fight for the fans, it's a fight everyone kind of wants to see, maybe. You'd like to think so. I mean, he signed up for the tough straight after the Poirier fight. Then he got delayed a year. Then it's been pushed and pushed and pushed. So you'd like to think so. Do I think the 304 card is better than 303? Well, I'll tell you what. Let's have a look at the 304 card. I mean, as a Brit, absolutely. Like for me, I know a lot more names on that undercard. Sam Patterson and Kiefer Crosby, that's a great fight. Modestas is fighting. CLD, our boy Christian Duncan is fighting. Our boy Oman Elliott at the minute is headlining the prelims. Hopefully that stays the same. So yeah, I mean, and then look at the main card. Bobby Green and Paddy, great fight. A real test for Paddy. If he wins this, I think people will finally stop saying, he's being fed this and that. He's got an easy run of it because Bobby Green's not an easy fight for anyone. We've seen that in his last fight. We've seen it in many fights before. Real test for Paddy. Makayev and Manuel Cap, great fight. Arnold Allen, Giga, Chigazi, massive fight again. Can we just let's just give a shout out to Arnold Allen, who doesn't take an easy fight, or doesn't look for an easy fight. He's fought down now the last two times in Evolov and Giga. What a talk about a real true fighter will fight anyone they put him in there with. That's Arnold Allen. And then obviously Co-Main, Tom Aspinall, Curtis Blades defending the interim title, which is insane. That should be for the legit heavyweight title, in my opinion. And then Leon and Bilal. That's a great fight. I know people rip on Bilal a little bit, but it's a good fight. Bilal deserves the title shot. So, yeah, for me, 304 is a better card. Bias as a Brit. I know a lot more people on the undercard. I'm Molly McCann on the undercard as well. The Don, Kyle and Lachlan on the undercard. You got Shana Bannon versus Oliveira. Mick Parkin versus Lucas Brzezinski, Nathaniel Wood versus Pineda. Good undercard. And as a Brit, I know a lot of those guys on it, so I'll be a lot more interested in that card for sure. Couple more questions. Will UFC have to refund tickets, then resell them? Absolutely not. Because if you read the tickets, terms, and conditions, it will always say card is subject to change, which basically means a pullout or a change of main event is not a reason for a refund. So, sorry guys, if you bought a ticket to watch the match. Is there a better UFC company man than Alex Pereira? Not at the minute. Not at the minute. Saved the day twice, didn't he? UFC 300, UFC 303. Is this the end of the match? Ooh, I've just been over it. Who knows? Who knows? We don't know. I tell you one thing, the longer time goes on without him being in there, the more on edge I'm starting to get with it, and the more I'm starting to think, is he going to come back? I'd like to think he's got a couple more in him, but he's got that much money, he could step away at any minute. So he's not fighting for money. Obviously, it all depends if that motivation goes or not. Uh, One more on the card, and then we got two for me. Who wins, Ian Gary or MVP? Tough fight for both guys. Ian may prove me wrong, but I don't think anyone who's going to come to just purely have a striking match with MVP is going to have an easy night. I would be surprised if we didn't see Ian mixing some wrestling. He's good grappler. We've seen him grappling Cage Warriors with submission wins. But MVP showed in the past, he always seems to find a way, doesn't he? Against Kevin Holland, got him down. Kevin Holland's a good level black belt, and he found a way up. So, interesting fight. Big fight for both guys. I think a win could propel either one of them into the title picture. Uh, then two for me. Is your next fight going to be October in Abu Dhabi? I'd love that for that. Love to be on the Abu Dhabi card. My cut on my leg is finally healed up. The swelling is gone. There's still a little bit of tenderness, but I'm gonna give it a week or two and try and ease my way back into sparring. Obviously, don't want to rush it. I want to play it by ear, see how it feels. But I'd be aiming for October time, so that'd be perfect. What should they do about the refs? Well, they should stop employing inexperienced Brazilian ones. That's for sure. Look, I do get it. Being being a ref is not an easy job, right? I get that. I'm not saying it is. I'm not saying I could do a better job. But when you're refing at the level of the UFC, then you should be experienced enough where you can make good decisions. Like look at a guy like Mark Goddard and Herb Dean. They make little mistakes now and then, but very rarely. They know the game inside out. They know the rules inside out. It should be like that. And I also think it doesn't hurt. I'm not saying it should be compulsory, but it doesn't hurt for a ref to have some previous fight experience, so they know how the fight is feeling in the end. And you know, because we're not normal people. You know, like don't keep harping on about my fight. It got stopped because of the cut. And the excuse we had when complaining to the commission a couple of days later on email was, "Oh, it was to prevent any damage to the fight." I was like, "What do you mean? Listen to what you're saying. You know, I've signed up for a fist fight in a cage, so I'm more than prepared to be damaged if needs be. Give me a chance to finish." But we won't go down that rabbit hole again. How do I stay positive when bouncing back from a loss? Look, it can be tough. I've had good days. I've had down days. I've had bad days. My fiance has been a godsend as always. Always supports me, win, lose, draw, whether I'm up, whether I'm down, when I'm on a good day, when I'm on a bad day. She's always there for me to talk to. My family and a lot of my friends. You know, it is what it is. You gotta stay positive. You gotta stay positive. You can't let it get you. Like I said, um, in the podcast after the fight, my life is bigger than fighting now, and as devastated as I was to lose, I got a little boy, I got a fiance, I got a lovely family, I got other stuff going on in my life where, you know, I can't let a loss get me down for weeks on end because dad's still got a dad. So just stay positive, look to the future. For me, it's not a defining moment, it's not the end of the world. And I feel like, you know, there's always the next one to focus on. So I hope in short that answers. I hope that makes sense. I'm just trying to check if you've had any more questions before we sign this baby off. No, that's it. There you go, guys. First solo podcast done. I hope I can get it out relatively soon. I don't know how soon I'll be able to get it out. I'm gonna have to edit the bit where I have to run and sort the baby out. Hope you enjoyed. Like I said, hopefully Joe will be able to jump on next week, maybe or the week after. We've got a guest lined up for the studio, which we'll announce in the next couple of weeks. We've got a couple of guys coming in on Zoom. Hopefully, I paid a lot of fucking money for this mic, so hopefully we get a use out of this as well. Hope you enjoyed. Hope it wasn't too low tech for you, and hope the edit turns out all right. As always, thanks for watching. Let me know in the comments. Do you think the McGregor fight is going to happen later in the year? Do you think this is it for him? What are we saying? And give me your predictions for Yuri versus Alex. Until next time, boom.